All right, we're live. Good evening, everyone. It's Monday, October 20th, and it is 5 p.m. We're recording this interview ahead of time because our guest is a very busy guy, so this was the best time for him. And thanks for joining us on the fourth episode of the DC Executive Hangout. I'm Jared Gold, and this is my co-host Jamila Corbett.
Hi, everyone.
So we're really excited to have you all here, and this particular show, as we said, had to be recorded ahead of time. So, but if you want to tweet about it or share it, feel free to do so using the hashtag DC Executive Hangout. So this has been a show that I was really looking forward to for a long time, and I was very persistent to get. And our guest is Ryan Carson, who is the founder and CEO of Treehouse, which is an educational platform to essentially help anyone learn to code for iOS, Android, and the web. And to date, Treehouse has raised over $12 million of funding and has an active user base of greater than 25,000 students. So welcome, Ryan.
Thanks. It's great to be on the show. The exciting news is we're up to 90,000 students now.
Oh my God, that was an old article then. Okay. I think I got it from TechCrunch or something.
Hey,
So,
can never trust TechCrunch.
really? Oh man, that was like that's like my favorite publication. Okay.
Yeah, it's great to be on the show. Thanks.
Sure, sure. So to start out, just tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, your upbringing, your education, etc. And have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? Did you happen to have any other business ventures and how those turn out?
Sure. Yeah, so I was born and raised in Colorado and studied computer science in college and graduated in the year 2000. And that was right at the height of the dot-com craziness. And, got job offers at companies like Sun and HP and kind of the traditional computer science route, and just realized I wanted something a little different that I didn't know what I didn't know, and I had only lived in Colorado, so I thought now's my chance to go have an adventure and see what happens. So I moved to the UK, and they speak English there, so I thought it was fairly straightforward. And I was going to do that for a year and just kind of see what happened, and ended up staying for 12 years and building up a family and a work history and a couple companies, and then eventually moved back to the United States just in 2012. So the journey while I was in the UK was interesting because I was a developer, was building web apps, and then in 2004 I decided to start my first company. And I had built a simple web app that was for sending files to clients, for their approval. This is back when you couldn't email files over 2 megs, believe it or not.
Right.
So needed a better way to do that. So built a simple tool called DropSend, and then tried to sell it, and went through this interesting journey where that idea failed, and then it morphed into a different idea. Which then I later sold, which then also gave rise to my third business, which then morphed into Treehouse. So, any success we've had with Treehouse was basically 12 years in the making.
Wow. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead, Jamila.
No. Go ahead. I was just going to go to the next question, but go ahead. You're going to piggyback off of what he said.
Yeah. So, Ryan, I was listening to this. Are you familiar with Robert Greene,
Yes.
the author? So I was watching him on like a TEDx talk today, and it's funny the last thing you said where it's like 12 years in the making is Treehouse, right? Because my impression of it was that it just came out of nowhere and just quickly got momentum, right?
Yeah.
And so he said any change in people's fortune is merely the visible manifestation of all that deep preparation over time. So I feel like that was kind of reflected in what you just said is, you were doing this for a long time. We only saw the success of it. So go ahead, Jamila.
Yeah, and Jared is such a brand advocate for you guys. I just want to let you know. But tell us more about Treehouse. How did you determine there was a need? How did you validate the idea, and how did you, start moving in the first place?
Basically, Treehouse is an online school, plain and simple. And we take our students from zero to job ready, and then our goal is to put them in a job, making apps. And the need arose from my last business where we were doing physical conferences and workshops. We were training people how to do web design and web development in person, and I just felt like it was something that was only going to help rich people. You have people that can afford these things. They can afford to travel to these things. It's very selective. And I just thought, this is not going to change the world. I'm basically going to help people who are already, doing fine to do better. And I'd rather empower millions of people to change their lives and achieve their dreams at an affordable price. So we kind of thought, how can we do this, teaching web design, web development, and do it at scale at an affordable price? And this was in 2010. And, believe it or not, only 4 years ago, YouTube and online video was still kind of new. It's broadband penetration still wasn't that great. So the idea was, well, let's just put it online. Let's hire a teacher, let's film them and put it online and see what happens. And from that, just seed of an idea, now we have, 90,000 students, 75 employees. It's kind of mind blowing. And I think it's because there's two things happening in human history right now. There's the ability to actually get job ready online without going to a physical school, married to an explosion in jobs. So we have, millions of jobs that are going to go unfilled in technology if we don't alter our funnel, the way that people get job ready. If we rely on people getting a computer science degree or even a college degree at all, America just won't be able to produce enough developers. And America will suffer for that. Innovation will go down, GDP will go down. We'll see a general brain drain outside the United States. So I'm very honored and excited to be a part of the solution.
I love it, and I absolutely agree. And I was actually having a debate with a friend, probably a few months ago, and he was saying about, I was talking with him, and I was arguing the point that nowadays you don't even need, a college degree to get a job. It's about who you know and about having the skills and about getting out there and hustling. And he got in this big thing with me, and in the back of my head, I was just thinking Treehouse the whole time because obviously you guys stick to the skills, right? Computer science, obviously a great degree to have, but I know some friends that graduated with a CS degree, and they still need to be trained by their job for things like Java programming and whatnot. Like computer science is more of like a theory. I think colleges especially, they have so much red tape, they have so much lag in the technology and the actual practical skills because they have all these approvals and curriculums to move around, whereas Treehouse can just put the content out there for the latest stuff. I mean, I saw that you guys released a course on Swift, the new programming language for iOS, within like a few weeks of it actually coming out.
We launched it on the day.
I'm even mistaken. The day it came out, and that will never happen in college.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem with the current education model. Everyone's locked in to this system that's very hard to change. I mean, and I'm not anti-college. I believe that if you can afford university and it leads to a job, then absolutely you should go. But as we know, most degrees do not lead to jobs; they lead to student debt, and that's bad for everybody. Right, so, and we've talked to a lot of universities, and they only refresh our curriculum every 18 months, and our technology goes totally out of date in 18 months. I mean, what I learned in my computer science degree 10, 12 years ago is absolutely irrelevant now. So all that needs to change. So, so our goal is to have 1 million students by 2020, and then placing 100,000 people in jobs every year. And we think that's possible, if you change the whole model.
I don't see why not. And what would you say were others' reactions to your ambitious goal here, right? So I think your company started out as Think Vitamins. Is that correct, or Think Vitamin?
Yep.
And I know my Treehouse trivia slightly. And so were people supportive? Were they naysayers? When you said you had this ambitious goal to, I'm going to train all these developers and put them in jobs, did they agree with you, or did they think that you were a psycho, or what?
Yeah, we get a lot of pushback from people who are very attached to the idea of going to college. And I think, the trouble is that a lot of people are emotionally attached to college and their belief in its value, and I understand that. I just think, it's hard to break that cycle. I think we won't see people distance themselves from the idea of going to college for probably 5, even 10 years. So yeah, there's a lot of pushback. A lot of people are threatened by us. But in the end, I'd look at that as a as a positive thing, because it means that we must be doing something right, if we're changing the system, so.
Yeah, I love that. And I think college is more so, well, for me, it was more so for the experience. I got the experience. I was able to mingle with people from different cultures, different part of the world. But I think your platform is necessary because, like you said, information evolves daily. And even after college, I found myself having to still learn. You self-educate on, the industry that I'm in, the industry that I wanted to go into. So the platform is definitely relevant. And what would you say separates Treehouse from another service that's comparable to yours, like Linda?
We focus 100% on getting people job ready. So Linda is a great tool as a library. If you need to know Excel, or if you need to know, this piece of software, it's really good at that. But our sole focus is getting people job ready and then skilling them up after they're on the job. And we feel we have to focus 100% on that because it's so hard to do. So the way we practically do that is by building out, a really advanced platform that allows students to code while they're learning, test them with code while they're learning, and then reinforces that knowledge and then drives them all towards a job. And that's just really hard to do unless you focus on that one thing. Linda's teaching everything from business tactics to down to Excel, and it's just hard to do all that, in the depth that needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. I mean, one thing that I really liked about Treehouse was that it didn't try to do everything at once, right? I think Linda is an overwhelming library, right? Like I could be on there all day and be like, oh, hey,
Yeah,
that's
it
a cool
really
skill,
is.
that's a cool skill. But Treehouse actually has like specific paths, right? So there's like become a web developer, become an iOS developer, and different tracks like interlock and credits kind of transfer. So it's a really unique way to actually stay on task, and it's gamified. So you get points for completing different courses, and it's just like a kind of clever, fun way to do it that's much more focused than something like Linda. That's what I found.
Thanks. I mean, we're trying hard. The truth is, it's hard to learn how to code. It takes time. But we think if we can make it fun, then you can stick with it about 20 minutes a day. And that'll over a period of 6 to 12 months. And then if you put in that time, you can learn it. We're taking people that don't know how to code, have never written a line of it, feel uncomfortable with technology, and then taking them all the way through to that. And it's hard to do unless it's fun and addicting, and I think we're getting there. But the amazing thing about these jobs is that they pay very well. If you can come out of this and be job ready and be placed, you start at about 45K with no experience, and then you very quickly ramp up to about 100 to 120. It's an amazing industry to be in, and it's exciting.
Right. And so you did a good job of answering like a lot of the other questions I had for you, just kind of like by coincidence. So I'm just going to skip down here.
Thanks. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little cut for time. We've probably got maybe 5 minutes.
Sure. Okay. Well, I appreciate the warning. So let's see here. We'll skip to the more interesting stuff. We understand Treehouse. That's cool. Let's learn about you here. Some motivation to end the show here. So, what would you say is your most important tip or few tips for those that want to pursue entrepreneurship?
The biggest thing I've learned is that nobody knows what they're doing, and it's confusing because you look at entrepreneurs that we all idolize. Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Evan Williams from Twitter, Marissa Mayer, all these people, and what it's tempting to think they knew that they were going to succeed. But the more you read about them, and I've actually met a lot of these folks, you realize that when they started, they had no idea what they were going to do was going to succeed, and they were just as scared as you or I about whether or not it would work. And through the mix of hard work and luck, they ended up succeeding. And so the hard thing is that everybody wants affirmation that this is the right choice, this is the right company to do, this is the right strategy, this is the right way to get funded. But the truth is nobody knows. And even if they try to tell you they know, then they don't know. So that's one thing. There's a couple tactical things I would say. Generally, getting advisors is a bad idea because they don't have enough equity to really move the ball. We have, one or two very good advisors out of probably 8 that we've asked, just not because they're bad people, but they don't have time to really help. And then the other tactical mistake I made is when you raise money, I wish that we had only raised from one person or one company. We have kind of this, plethora of investors involved, and the truth is only, 2 of them have enough equity to really move the ball, and therefore we're only going to get value of those 2. And I thought it was some sort of notch on my belt, to have, certain investors involved, and the truth is they're just too busy. So, looking back, I wish I had done that a little differently. But I'm happy with where we've ended up. But like I said, it's 12 years of hard work and then a lot of luck. So the message is, if you're scared about starting a business or you don't know, then you're normal, and that's okay.
I like it. That's, fake it till you make it, right? Jamila, Jamila, do you have any questions for Ryan?
Yeah, I love what you said. A lot of entrepreneurs don't realize that, a lot of people, a lot of, aspiring entrepreneurs, I'm sorry, let's start over. A lot of aspiring entrepreneurs don't realize that current entrepreneurs were scared to start their companies, and one of the quotes that I kind of live by is feel the fear and do it anyway. I forgot who said that, but that's one of the quotes that's always stuck with me. But do you have any favorite books or apps or general tips for aspiring entrepreneurs?
I listened to the Steve Jobs biography by Isaacson, or is it Isaacs, one of the two. And it's like 40 hours, but it was such a fascinating experience because you really realize that he didn't know what he was doing. He just was really, really opinionated and was trying hard. And then I'm reading a book called I'm Feeling Lucky, which is by the 59th employee at Google, and it just gives you this insight into the really dirty, really messy beginning of Google. And again, reminds you that, they didn't know what they were doing either. So those are 2 of my favorites. One of the things I do that really works for me is I wake up early every morning at like 4:50, and then the first thing I do is I triage my email. So I go through and I star the ones I need to respond to, and then I archive it all. And then I only deal with email about twice a day, and that helps a lot to keep me focused on what's important. And then maybe when we have time, another show for another day, we could talk about our crazy no manager structure and how we don't have management and how we work 4 days a week. But all that it is centered around the belief that if you hire good people and give them power, then they make great decisions most of the time. And so far it's working. So, but yeah, sorry I have to run, but I really appreciate you inviting me on the show. This is a real honor.
No problem. Thanks so much for joining us. We feel special, man. You're a big Willie. You're doing cool things. Once again, guys, check out teamtreehouse.com. It's like one of the best investments I've ever made, and it honestly has changed my life because it allowed me to leave a job I didn't like, try something new. Don't know how long I'll stick with it, but I'm at least enjoying it for now, and the technical skills proved to be so valuable, and it gave me a lot to do at my old job when I didn't have anything to do, just sitting on Treehouse and learning different technical skills. So thanks again for joining us, Ryan. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Take care.
Bye.